Hello, and welcome to The View from Sibos, here at the conference in Toronto this year. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy Editor at The Banker magazine, and I'm joined by Lisa Robbins, who's Head of Global Transaction Banking Asia for Deutsche Bank. Lisa, thanks so much for joining us today.
Delighted.
When we met in Geneva last year, you really highlighted that transformation was sort of the key theme of the conference last year. What do you think are the key themes this year?
Well, transformation continues to be a key theme. There's no doubt that in the world of banking and FinTech, things are changing. But the key themes this year, which highlight change, are cybersecurity, clearly on everybody's radar, and we're spending a lot of time thinking about how we can make sure that our systems are safe and secure. Second thing would be continued focus on digitization and collaboration with the FinTechs. And then probably the third thing is looking at how we can build communities to solve some of the complex issues that the financial community is confronting today.
Okay, and you touched on sort of the FinTech collaboration, and there seems to have been this move from competition to collaboration. Is that a trend that you're seeing in Asia?
Absolutely.
And what do you think is driving it?
Well, absolutely. When I look at Asia, I consider the key trends. To me, it's kind of the cradle of digitalization, if you will. If you think about what's going on in India, in China, in Singapore, not to mention countries like Vietnam, where things are just taking off. And why are they taking off? Two reasons. One, if you look at China, probably driven more by the private enterprise and the creation of platform businesses like Alipay and JD.com, and even WeChat is getting engaged in financial tech side of their business. And then you look at India, really clearly motivated by a government goal which started with financial inclusion, followed up by demonetization last year, all offering a flourishing environment to create solutions that meet the demands of, actually in this case, I would say, started off being kind of government-inspired programs.
So you touched on it a little bit, but what is really driving the growth of digital banking, especially among corporates in the region?
Well, a lot of things are driving the growth. But when I think of one thing, if I go back to my example of India earlier, the government has helped and aided and abetted in this in many ways. Think about some of the programs that they have in place, which allows companies to do very quick credit searches and encourages pools of credit information to be available, and in fostering the development of a very strong intellectual business community that's allowed to flourish and try new things. On the other hand, if you look at Singapore, Singapore is also an area where the government has a regulatory sandbox, which allows companies to try out new ideas in collaboration with FinTechs and with the regulator. This all encourages a kind of an environment which allows companies to explore.
So another big development that's happening coming out of China is the Belt and Road Initiative. What kind of opportunities does that open up for transaction banks like Deutsche Bank?
All sorts of opportunities, starting out with the fact that we signed a memorandum of understanding with the China Development Bank to look at financing and the RMB internationalization over the next 5 years to the tune of about 3 billion euros. And interestingly, that really plays to the strengths of many foreign banks, but ours in particular, particularly around structured trade export finance, where we see a lot of opportunities to assist in the building of infrastructure to support the development of many of the countries along the way, and also to requirements in terms of FX. Not to mention a whole host of other things that open up as economies open up.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your insights, Lisa.
My pleasure.